I know you have seen a ton of videos about this camera before. You know every spec sheet, bullet points, or technical aspect. But in this video I want to talk more about the real experience of owning this camera as my primary and personal camera for daily life moments. I will use this camera for professional work, but in this video specifically I will just talk about the main reason why I got this camera, documenting travels and daily moments. And as a general disclaimer, I bought this camera with my own money, so every thoughts that we'll share is 100% real, so I guess this means something. So let's start from the beginning. Since I got this camera coming from the Canon R6 Mark II and the Fujifilm X100V, the first few days I had this camera, I spent a few hours going through the menus, setting up everything as I like it, discovering a bit more the autofocus system, and testing out the different recording formats. I love the S-Log3, the S-Gamut Cine, and everything you will see in this video has been shot with this camera in these settings at 25 frames per second. On the photography side, everything was shot on RAW file and edited with my own presets that I'm really proud of, but I will talk about that in another video. I'm not going to lie to you, I got this camera in probably the worst time of the year here in Italy because the weather just sucks. I waited for at least 2 weeks to get a sunny day and try to shoot in good light conditions. So as soon as I got the free time to go out and shoot, I went to Lake Como and shoot this video. So let's begin. As someone who owned the Canon R6 Mark II and the Fujifilm X100V, I've always loved the physical dials and the tactile experience of shooting with such cameras. So switching system and finding myself dealing with the new dials in this new camera has been a bit of a challenge for my muscle memory. Not because I'm missing anything in particular, but just because some buttons and dials are in a different position and have a different function. Despite that, each dial and button are customizable, and that makes this camera easy to adapt for everyone. Having some hard time dealing with muscle memory is a normal process that occurs each time you switch brands. But I have to say, finding myself learning how to use a new camera, it's kind of exciting. But there is one thing that I miss the most so far, and is the joystick. I had it both on Canon and Fuji, and since I'm not used to using the touchscreen for some operations, I still have to deal with this. Besides that, once personalized each button and dial, this camera somehow met the same user experience I had with my previous cameras. Another topic I want to talk about is the color science. It's not my first time editing photos and videos of Sony body, so I'm not kinda new to that, but I still want to touch a few things. Sony files are not easy to edit, but that doesn't mean they're not good. Coming from Canon and Fuji, their colors are in most cases ready to go, and editing their files in Lightroom or DaVinci was kind of easy. But with Sony, you don't get good colors straight out of the camera, and that means I will never shoot JPEG with a standard profile. But Sony colors are actually good, just like Canon's or Fuji's, once you jump into the editing software. This Sony has a great dynamic range, and even when shooting overexposed or underexposed, you can still recover a good amount of information. Even in such terrible conditions with high contrast scenes and harsh light, I still managed to get good colors and a lot of good black and white scenes as well. A third thing I want to talk about is the autofocus system. Sony is well known for its amazing autofocus, and this camera in particular has the same autofocus system as the Sony a7 IV, even though this one is slightly better. And that's actually pretty insane considering the small size of this body. And if I compare it with my previous cameras, I got an incredible improvement. But there is one particular thing that at the moment is kinda difficult to let it go. This camera doesn't have a joystick, and considering I was used to using it to move around my focus point, now I need to rely on the touchscreen or the arrows. In both cases, I still feel it's not that intuitive or fast as before. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, I'm just saying that I was used to a different system and I just need some time to get familiar with the new one. Besides that, I shoot mainly with the wide and central point option. The first one works perfectly with subjects on screen, and it doesn't matter where they are. I get a clear shot 99% of the time. While the central point is more useful when shooting nothing in particular, but a normal scene where my subject is just the environment, especially when shooting videos. One last thing that doesn't take long to go through is the compact body. The Sony a7CII Mark II is really light and small. Considering it's a full-frame camera and some lenses options available, it can easily become a great lightweight and powerful combo. What the f***? Now, I know in many cases this is not a big problem for many creators, but in my personal case, considering I travel a lot and especially I don't want to carry around a lot of weight, this setup is just incredible. The body has basically the same size as the Fuji X100V, with the good option that I can change lenses as I want. So far I got the 24-50 f2.8 and the 24mm 1.4, and they're very small lenses, but I look forward to get probably another small lens, like a fixed lens, just for street photography related stuff, so I can keep my setup very light in many situations. Okay, so my final thoughts about the a7CII Mark II. This camera is a great tool. It produces beautiful, high-quality images, and it's actually quite versatile, whether you're using it for work or personal/travel content. It becomes basically unnoticeable to carry around if you pair it with a small lens, or even though with a 24-50 it's still a very compact camera. Actually, it's like my Canon and Fuji had some good time together, and this Sony basically is just the result of their love. Throw in the capability of taking great photos and videos in a very flexible and high quality format, and in my opinion there is nothing you can ask more from such a compact body. And I think this camera is totally worth the switch if you're looking like me, a smaller body to carry around when you're traveling or for daily life moments. I hope you enjoyed watching some examples of shots I got with this camera and hearing my experience of using this camera around Lake Como. As always, if you have any questions, please leave a comment below. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.